Hey guys, before we get started, I just wanted to say that we have a gaming channel and an anime channel, Mystical Gaming and Mystic Sage. If you like gaming, go check out Mystical Gaming, and go check out Mystic Sage if you like anime content. Links will be in the description below and in the ad cards above. Since it's finally starting to cool down a bit out there, I figured for those of you who missed the summer, I've got to step up. With that being said, gather around and warm yourself up as I bring you the best team for fire types. Remember to stay hydrated and keep in mind that things are still the same as always with the best team series. The biggest rule here is that a Pokemon never appears more than once on one of these best teams. If you don't see Typhlosion on this team, then you're not going to see him at all on any of these best teams. Though alternatively, if you don't see Volcanion, there is still a chance it will pop up in the best team for water types. A big thing to mention for you all to keep in mind is, as always, that these typing teams should be viewed more as theme teams to have decent fun with, rather than something you should take into the Monotype tier. Now let's enjoy some fun in the sun and boogie right into this best team. When you think of fire Pokemon, there's probably one entity that flashes in your mind before anything else: Charizard. It truly is the quintessential fire type and quite possibly the most famous Pokemon on the frickin' planet after Pikachu. I honestly couldn't have dreamed of not including it on this team. So here we are. If you're familiar with this series, you know we tend to open up these teams with the Mega Pokemon, and this is going to be no different. However, Charizard is one of the very few Pokemon that has the option to Mega Evolve in the two different forms. So the question now becomes, which form we'll be using? Well, I know that Mega Charizard X is the more popular option due to its typing and design, but we will not be featuring it today. Mega Charizard Y is a clear-cut choice when you're building a team of fire types, and the biggest support to that fact is its Mega's ability, Drought. Having this sun up almost constantly is a huge plus for this team, and it's merely one of quite a few different awesome qualities that Mega Charizard Y is bringing to the table. It's an absolutely special attacking machine as well, working with the base 159 special attack, which is in the better percentage of special attack stats in all of the game. You guys already know that when I see a special attack that high, I've got to improve on it, so I went ahead and took 252 EVs and put them right in there to bring up the special attack up to 417. And then I threw in the Monotype to swell it right up to 458. It took me a little while to decide on what I wanted to do with the other 252 EVs, but I inevitably decided on sticking those in this speed so I could give Mega Charizard a bit of a speed boost. It's especially useful when it comes to outspeeding some Pokemon. The moveset put together for Mega Charizard Y is going to be Flamethrower, Air Slash, Solar Beam, and Roost. Flamethrower is the premier move on this set, being Mega Charizard's best possible move of the four. Flamethrower's power goes at the 135 thanks to Stab, but with the sun being up thanks to Drought, it'll get a further boost to 202 base power. It's almost unfair to bring up that Flamethrower still features a 10% chance to cause a burn, but with power like this, the opponent may not even survive long enough to get burned. The next move is Air Slash, which is yet another move taking advantage of Stab, going from a base power of 75 to 112. Unlike Flamethrower, Air Slash isn't 100% accurate, this time carrying a 95% accuracy rate. While having lower accuracy than one would like, the 95% still isn't that bad, and quite frankly, it's a nice trade-off for a 30% chance to flinch your opponent. When it comes to taking advantage of Stab, they are two fantastic moves to use and really bring to the forefront of what makes Charizard Y a major threat. The third move was a pretty obvious one for me to include, being Solar Beam. It provides the only real weapon against the biggest weakness Charizard has, the rock types. Solar Beam is base 120, and thanks to Drought, it doesn't have to change, so all rock types are going to get absolutely smacked by a powerful Solar Beam. It's also helpful against water types, which aren't as much of a threat as they'd normally be against Charizard thanks to that sun. Finally, there is Roost, and it's really helpful to carry just in case you switch in on rocks and something to that effect. Plus, when you use, it'll make you less weak to the rock type, which definitely helps matters. With a moveset like this, Mega Charizard Y is bound to throw a major wrench into the opponent's plans by taking out several of their Pokemon. Next up on this team is yet another starter Pokemon, this time coming in from Generation 4, the flame Pokemon Infernape. Part of a line of firefighting Pokemon starters, Infernape is quite possibly the best of the three if you don't count Mega Blaziken. When you take a look at its move pool, you'd probably be able to figure out what to do with a Pokemon like Infernape when you give it the Iron Fist ability. You might as well call this ape Tyson Fury because it gets throwing punches all over the place and it doesn't care what happens to you. Before we get into the moves though, we have of course got to talk about the stats. Infernape has very solid attack and speed, both over 100, and just primed to be boosted by EVs. With that being said, we're going to give 252 to both the attack and speed stats, as well as having the fun and jolly nature. Infernape's attack will be 307, and its speed it's 346, prepping it big time to be a monstrous weapon against the opposing team. Before I forget, I want to touch on its item, the Expert Belt. The Expert Belt will make the moves of Infernape that do super effective damage deal even more damage, 1.2 times increased to be exact. Would you look at that? Infernape is working with the flurry of punches for this moveset, those being Fire, Thunder, Power Up, and Mach Punch. Each one of these moves is going to get boosted by an Iron Fist, and that's what makes Infernape so special. Starting with Fire Punch, it will see its 75 base power, and watch it first be boosted to 90 by Iron Fist, and then once more to 135 thanks to Stab. Partner such a strong move with possibility boost by the Expert build and a 10% chance to burn the opponent, and you've got yourself a fantastic main move to turn to. Next is Thunder Punch, which offers tremendous coverage against two of Infernape's main weaknesses, water and flying types. Unfortunately for Infernape, it doesn't get access to Ice Punch, so it can't cover another one of its weaknesses being ground. But sometimes you just need to work with what you're lucky enough to have. Thunder Punch ends up at 90 base power thanks to Iron Fist, and with an Expert built boost would send it up to 108, and that'll definitely cause some damage to the Blastoise and Pidgeot of the world. The third move is yet another one taking advantage of Stab, and a move that will boost the attack of Infernape every time it hits, Power Up Punch. When Stab and Iron Fist are added into things, the base power of this move rises up to just 72, but the bigger reason it's on the set is for that attack boost. Connecting with just one single Power Up Punch will raise Infernape's attack to 460, and another one would make it 614. This is definitely a punch worth carrying, and you could easily find yourself in a situation that sets you up to connect with a few and make your Infernape unstoppable. Finally, there is Mach Punch, another move that will receive the same boosts Power Up Punch did, bringing it to 72 base power as well. This is purely here for priority and allowing you to finish off the opponent if you've got them on the ropes. Did you see what I did there? Have them on the ropes like a boxer? I know you guys laughed, don't try to deny it. How about we stop in Unova for the next few Pokemon, starting with Infernape's similar brethren, Darmanitan. A pretty popular Pokemon in its own right, Darmanitan has been one of the hardest physical hitters the fire typing has to offer since its introduction to Pokemon Black and White. It's got a pretty interesting hidden ability as well, one that lets it transform into a mysterious Zen mode that completely changes its stats to layout. Rather than messing around with that ability though, we're sticking to sheer force. Also, just because I like the idea of hitting ridiculously hard with this Pokemon, I'm throwing the Life Orb on it as well. The combo of sheer force and Life Orb is too good to pass up, and it's going to cause most of the moveset I picked out to hit like nothing else in this team. With the base 140 to work with, a decent 95 speed, Darmanitan unfortunately has no real defenses to speak of. This of course means it'll be our signature Glass Cannon on this best team, but with how hard it will hit and the sweep potential, it'll be fine. The 252 EVs go into attack and speed and partner up with a Jolly Nature, giving Darmanitan a 379 in attack and 317 in speed. With such a great attack, boost from an ability, and an item that gives 1.3 times each the base power of moves, Darmanitan is going to be a physical attacker that can come in handy and absolutely wreck the opponent at any moment, no setup required. Since we're going to be using sheer force and I have thrown on the Life Orb, I had to build a moveset that mostly can take advantage of it. The first three moves on this set do, and those are Flare Blitz, Fire Punch, and Zen Headbutt, while the last move doesn't, and that's U-Turn. Starting with Flare Blitz, there was unfortunately no way to stop the loss of HP that comes with using it, causing 33% recoil when it connects. That of course means you can't use it as many times as you might like, but it's a move that has a pretty good chance of connecting for a knockout when hitting only once. Flare Blitz starts out at 120 base power, but following sheer force and the Life Orb, it'll go up to 202 base power. We've got to boost that up some more thanks to Stab, making Flare Blitz a staggering 304 base power. It'll be worth it giving up a good chunk of your health if you can hit any other Pokemon with a move like this. Though if doing massive damage in exchange for a big chunk of health isn't really your thing, don't worry. We've got Fire Punch here that will do some good damage and not destroy your health. Fire Punch normally would give you a 10% chance to burn your opponent when it connects and have a 75 base power, but since we're rocking out with the interesting circumstances that we are, none of that is true anymore. Instead, there is no chance to burn, and after all multipliers, Fire Punch's base power shoots up to 190, making it a fantastic general move to use in a battle against all Pokemon that aren't flameproof. Finally, there is Zen Headbutt, which provides some general coverage and gives Darmanitan a move to use against Pokemon that resist its fire typing. Zen Headbutt gets boosted up to 135, unfortunately not getting an extra boost from Stab that would really push it over the top. But that's alright, as hopefully you're not going to find yourself against many Pokemon that resist your strong Stab moves. The final move on this set is the 70 base power U-Turn, and it's the only move that isn't boosted by sheer force. It's going to still be Life Orb boosted of course, going up to a base power of 91, however it will end up causing you the Life Orb damage since sheer force isn't there to negate the negative effect. U-Turn is merely featured on this moveset to keep you from needing to battle with Pokemon that would do work against Darmanitan anyway, so trading off a little bit of damage from the Life Orb is fine if it means you won't have to lose his powerhouse to a knockout. In Black and White, there is a place called the Relic Castle that lies deep within the desert resort. Outside the entrance to this castle, funny enough, is the only place you can catch Darmanitan in the wild, in its Zen form. However, if you journey into that Relic Castle and enter the deepest chamber, you will find the next Pokemon on this team, Volcarona. With the interesting typing of Bug and Fire, Volcarona is definitely one of the strongest Pokemon to debut in Unova, and is primed to be set up and act as a nuclear bomb Pokemon on this team. It doesn't have much to do with its physical defense and attack, but the other three main stats are things I will be working with no doubt. To start, I want to bring up that I've given Volcarona the Flame Body ability, so if a Pokemon connects with an attack to it, there's going to be a 30% chance of it burning the foe. However, if you want to use Swarm, then that's fine. The whole reason I didn't bother to pick it myself is because I have so much faith that Volcarona will not fall beneath the 1/3 mark of its HP, but I digress. Either will probably work just fine, and it's up to you to choose what you like more. So moving on to its stats, Volcrona's got 135 in special attack, 105 in defense, 105 in special defense, and 100 in speed. I'm going to be putting 252 EVs in the special attack and speed, and make it modest, bringing the speed up to 299, and the special attack to cool 405. Volcrona is honestly going to just bring the hurt to the opponents of such high special stats, and I'm going to be making quite sure of that. The item we're going to be using is a Focus Sash, for reasons I will address momentarily when we get into the moveset. It helps keep Volcrona alive, guaranteed for at least one turn, as it will allow a Pokemon to survive a hit with 1 HP when it full if the damage would normally knock it out. The set is headlined by Quiver Dance, and it's followed by Fiery Dance, Bug Buzz, and Giga Drain. This moveset is perfectly built to cause massive damage to any Pokemon, though I'd like to preface things with this. We do not have a Defog user on this team, so much like Charizard, there is a chance Stealth Rocks will absolutely ruin Volcrona. Honestly, that is the biggest problem for a team of fire types in general, the Rock type. I'm gonna say if the opponent has a Rock type on the field, I wouldn't even bother sitting at Volcrona yet. This team has checks for stuff like that, but I wouldn't push the envelope if you don't have to. Let's get into these moves though, starting with Quiver Dance. This is what having the Focus Sash is for, giving you a chance to get off a Quiver Dance immediately and boost his special attack and special defense, along with the speed by a stage. Final stat line is going to be 607 special attack, 370 special defense, and 448 speed. You're going to be hitting like a truck after just one and probably outspeeding every Pokemon you come across. And all of that thanks to the Focus Sash, giving you a free chance to use it right when Volcrona gets in the field. Nothing in Pokemon is perfect, as I detailed in Stealth Rocks being a problem, priority moves could end up knocking out Volcrona the next turn. I wouldn't worry too terribly about that stuff though, because those things are things that you may only need to worry about 10% of the time when you have this Volcrona out in the field. Fiery Dance is the next move in this set, and it's going to be working hard to make Volcrona hit harder as well. Its base power is boosted up to 120 thanks to Stab, and it's got a whopping 50% chance to raise Volcrona's special attack by a stage. If you connect to the Fiery Dance after using Quiver Dance, not only will you hit the opposing Pokemon hard, but there's a good chance to go from 607 special attack to 810. And at that point, the opponent better have some sort of Rock type, or they're absolutely on the road to being swept. Bug Buzz is next. This one boosted to 135, and yet another great move Volcrona can turn to. It's got a 10% chance to lower the opponent's special defense, and if you choose to use Swarm on this Volcrona, then Bug Buzz's usage whenever Volcrona is at under 1/3 of its base HP, its special attack is going to get a 1.5 times boost. It's a bit ridiculous just how these moves will affect Volcrona's power, and literally turn it into Mothra from the Godzilla franchise. Finally, we've got Giga Drain, your one weapon against the Rock types that could absolutely annihilate this poor bug. With such a massive special attack stat, Giga Drain becomes very viable, as you'll more than likely one-shot any Rock type you go up against, even if you only got one boost from Quiver Dance. You're going to end up recovering 50% of the damage you do as well, meaning Volcrona will get a very steady intake of HP. This is no doubt the most dangerous Pokemon on the team, and one you'll want to focus on building up when the time is right. We're going to go back to the second generation of Pokemon for this next team member, that being the legendary beast Entei. Entei is a fan favorite thanks to its design and it being the focus of the third Pokemon anime film, so I felt pretty inclined to include this legendary on the team. There isn't a whole lot to talk about when it comes to Entei, and when it does, it's all relatively basic. It's got a good 115 base attack and a decent 100 base speed, meaning we'll just use it as yet another physical attacker that can help against specially defensive walls by hitting hard. I gave Entei 252 EVs into its attack and speed, and hooked it up with the Adamant Entry to make it even stronger. Entei now has a 361 attack and 299 speed, modest improvements that will only make better by equipping the Choice Band. In exchange for being locked into whatever move it uses, Entei will see its attack raise up to 541. Like I said, Entei is a very basic Pokemon that is more here to fit the theme than because it is super duper good. But it's a great filler Pokemon for either cleaning up opposing mons that are near death, or just when you need a certain matchup that one of its moves can win. Also, Entei is going to be using the pressure ability, since getting inner focus is through an event, and we try to not deal with event stuff on these teams. Entei's moveset is going to open up with Ho-Oh's signature move, Sacred Fire, Bulldoze, Iron Head, and Stone Edge. These are a set of strong moves that will have a purpose against a multitude of different typings that I'll address as I get to them. Sacred Fire felt like a no-brainer move to put on Entei, especially since I didn't include Ho-Oh on this team. It's going to have a boosted base power of 150 because of Stab, and it carries with it a 50% chance to burn the opponent, making it a great move to turn to if you're in against another hard-hitting physical attacker. Bulldoze is next, and it'll be one of the two checks this moveset has for Rock types. That darn typing gives this whole team a bit of a problem, so I want to be sure I'm set up to deal with them as best as I can be. At only 60 base power, it is the weakest of Entei's moves, but it comes with a nice perk, an automatic drop to the opponent's speed. This can make or break a battle if that speed drops to one of your other Pokemon being able to come in and outspeed whatever the opponent has out. Next is Iron Head, which I have for more coverage against Rock types, but also for those hard-hitting Fairy type Pokemon. Fire is lucky in that it will resist the Fairy typing, but those Pokemon will still have some crazy ways of hitting very hard, and being able to put forward a strong base 80 move to counter them is incredibly handy. Also, as I always enjoy bringing up, Iron Head has a 30% chance to flinch, which could definitely be useful against any Pokemon. Finally, we've got Stone Edge, a move I included simply for boot strength. strength. It was 100 base power and a great chance to crit, and it could work as a switch in against flying types and Volcanion is out and possibly vulnerable. Like I warned before, Entei is more so on this team because I felt I could not make a best team of fire types and not include it. So I made the best of what it is capable of. Hopefully you guys understand and respect this decision and get a lot of usage out of Entei when you use this team. It is now time for the final Pokemon in this team, and it's a bit of a doozy. Back in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Kyogre and Groudon got some major boosts to their power with the introductions of their primal forms, more notably with Groudon finally getting the fire typing that its origin form lacked. It ended up with the incredibly strong ability Desolate Land, which creates never-ending sun that prevents all damaging water moves from being used, thus preventing Groudon's biggest weakness from actually doing anything to it. Also, can I just say how cool Desolate Land's Japanese name is? Land of the End? Man, why couldn't we have gotten something that cool prior? Anyway, Groudon needs to be holding the red orb in order for it to go primal, so that's the item it has on it. As for stats, its spray is pretty incredible, boasting one of the highest attack stats in the game, along with some great physical defense and a very usable special attack. I'm doing things a bit different, spreading the 504 available EVs across 3 stats, trying to raise a few to balance out Groudon and cover things so it'll really be able to put work in on the field. Alongside the mild nature, I gave Groudon 2 12 EVs in special attack, 152 in speed, and 144 in special defense. Groudon's special attack actually ends up surpassing its physical, coming out to 427 against the latter's 396. Those are a couple of absolutely stunning attack stats, and with its speed and special defense now elevated over 250, it's suddenly set to be a mixed attacking threat. So working with this incredibly powerful Pokemon, we've got Swords Dance, Precipice Blades, Rock Tomb, and Eruption. Swords Dance is included to help boost up Groudon's attack, since we didn't do anything with it EV-wise. And just one Swords Dance is going to raise it up to 854, which is a pretty big deal when talking about our next move, Precipice Blades. Precipice Blades is Groudon's stab move for its ground typing, having a boosted 180 base power. It only has 85% accuracy, which isn't exactly what you want, but it is something that can be dealt with in exchange for the amount of damage this move will do should it connect. Rock Tomb is next, and that will serve as a check for some of the very same Pokemon that we have in this team. Mega Charizard Y, Volcanion, and Ho-Oh are all just a couple of Pokemon that will more than likely be one-shot by his Rock Tomb. It is also very useful for just slowing down the opponent, as there is a guaranteed stage drop in speed when it connects. Finally, we have this special attacking move on this moveset, Eruption. It's a stab boosted 225 power and is Groudon's strongest move, albeit the power of the move goes down steadily as Groudon is dealt damage. I've taken steps to improve its defenses, so that happens at a slowdown rate, but it's still something that will definitely have to be dealt with. And with that, things can finally start to cool down a little. The fire typing is really interesting and presents a lot of cool options to choose when building a team. And I had to pick carefully as there are some Pokemon with the fire type that are definitely going to be appearing on other best teams, and that's going to be featured here. As always, I want to hear from you guys. Please let me know what you think about the team in the comments. If you would use it, let me know how it goes. Would you guys do anything differently? And is there any Pokemon you'd rather see on the team that wasn't included? Let me know everything down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on. That way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other Nintendo content like Zelda, Fire Emblem, and much more. Want to support me further and gain cool perks? Check out my Patreon. Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Memory Martin, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Awesome Lego, Jarrett Weiss Austin, Sodden Grider, and Enigma97 did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Gumbrand, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.